Welcome to Into the Metaverse. Cathy Hackl is here with me again, back to back. Cathy, this is so much fun. So we've got a couple of things we're going to talk about today, which we're really excited about. We're going to start with Apple. So we're going to talk about what there's nothing to talk about, but we'll talk about that. And then we're going to chat about Snap, which had their annual event last week with a bunch of interesting announcements. And I know you're a big fan of some of the things they're building. Then we'll talk about Roblox, which recently culminated with their RDC, some interesting announcements. And then you're going to give us kind of a snapshot on what you're excited to hear about later this week from Meta's Connect conference. So with that in mind, let's start with Apple. What's your take on what is going on in Cupertino?
I don't know. I think a lot of people were kind of underwhelmed from the Apple event. They always make it exciting when you're watching it. You're kind of really excited, but I don't know. I'm an Apple fangirl. Am I personally going to go get an iPhone 16? No, I'm happy with my 15 Pro Max. Does great video. I get access to a lot of Apple Intelligence here, so I don't need the 16. I will tell you this: as much as the tech world and the silo that we live in is underwhelmed, I had to go to the Apple store this week and it was packed. It was packed with the regular consumer looking at the iPhone 16. So, for whatever that's worth, maybe us in the tech side of things are not as excited. But yeah, like I do feel like as much as I love Apple, I feel like at least with the iPhone, how much more can you innovate? Like how much more can you add? Apple Intelligence is obviously really exciting. I think that's going to be incredibly useful, but it's got to get a little bit better. I don't know. Like, how did you feel? Because I felt underwhelmed. I mean, I'm excited about I'm excited about the new AirPods. I'm excited about the hearing test. Yeah, but was I like jumping up and down trying to run to the Apple store? No, I was not.
Yeah, look, I think there is now like kind of a two-prone event throughout the year. There is the innovation side where they announce Vision Pro. Let's see what they announce next year. Doesn't seem like they will announce anything new, maybe a cheaper Vision Pro. And then you have the second event, which is basically like a update across most of their consumer product categories, right? The iPhone, the earpods. I'm so old.
The
iPod. No
iPod
one even
was a big
remembers what.
innovation, right? The
I
iPod, the
know.
iPad. I mean, they were pretty
Of
big.
course, of course. 1,000 songs in your pocket. There's never going to be another revolutionary product like that. But by the way, as a consumer, I somehow managed to stick to my iPhone 13 Pro Max for pretty much a long time. So I do have
Wow.
the new one. Exactly. So I did get the new one, but I've waited so long to get the new one. So I did get the
Yeah.
16, and you're right. The stores are packed across many different cities that I've seen. And that tells you that they are still sure their keynotes are pretty much the same and it's kind of perfect and they have this just beautiful way of presenting their products, but people still are mesmerized by the products. I heard this joke online. I don't know who said it, but he said when the biggest innovation of the AirPods is a medical feature like the hearing test,
Yeah.
and when the biggest innovation of their watch is also like a medical, it just shows you what age the decision makers at Apple are at, which is kind of funny and true, right? But nonetheless, it's kind of amazing some of the medical stuff they're
Yeah.
putting into. And look, the watch is one of the best selling watches in the world, and it's still a massive category. So, my take as a consumer, I was excited to see the 16 and I upgraded my 13. From a technology innovation perspective, the intelligence, quote unquote, is not even yet arrived. It's
Yeah.
not even fully integrated yet. So there hasn't been new. But let's see. Some analysts are saying that the fact that the new 16 was able to ship so fast,
Yeah.
it's kind of amazing on their supply chain. But at the same time, it also shows weaker demand because it means that they expected not to have too much pre-orders, et cetera, et cetera. But I think really what people are going to continue to look for is what is the next big product category, knowing that the Vision Pro is probably not going to be it. So the question then becomes, what is it? Foldable phones? Well, let's talk about the Vision Pro. So what do you think?
Don't discount it because I think that they're playing the long game with the Vision Pro. The Vision, like I literally was on LinkedIn today, and a couple of friends have joined the Vision group at Apple. So don't discount that. This was, Vision Pro was never meant to be a mass market product. I mean, mine's right there. I've got two. Don't discount it. I mean, because you're going to see, and you and I have talked about this, within the next 6 to 18 months, you're going to see a Cambrian explosion of new devices. Some will be headsets, some will be glasses, some will be different types of peripherals, different types of hardware, because everyone wants to put the AI somewhere, right? Apple's putting Apple Intelligence on the phone. They're eventually going to want to put it in the Vision Pro. They're going to want to put it everywhere in your AirPods. So don't discount Vision Pro. They're playing the long game with that, right? That being said, I will say this, and I know we're going to talk about Meta Connect, but I do think that with the iPhone 16, yeah, bringing Apple Intelligence and everything, it does leave a massive opportunity for Meta to make a big hardware play in the glasses area. Meta has never been a hardware company, right? Meta is a software company. It's an ad company, right? It's never been a hardware company. They've tried to compete. They've never done really too well in the hardware side. And obviously they have there's been certain business beef with Apple in the past. This is in my perspective a massive opportunity for Meta next this week to come to the market with some hardware that blows people away. And I don't know what they're announcing. I have ideas, I have, suspicions, but I think that we're going to see potentially a lot more augmented reality or sometimes mixed reality. I'm not sure what they're bringing to market under the Christmas tree. So I think this is the fact that the last Apple event left people feeling not as excited maybe, is going to leave a huge opportunity for Meta to make its hardware play with nice, stylish glasses that might offer see-through AR, translation on demand. I don't even know, but yeah, like mark my words. I feel like this is the moment Zuckerberg's been waiting for to truly make a hardware play.
There's no doubt. And, he actually said on a podcast last week, on the Acquired podcast, he said that Apple is Meta's biggest competitor for the next 10 years. And I think he also kind of waited 20 years to be able to say
Yeah,
that Apple is his
he
biggest
can say it
competitor.
now,
But,
right? I
but,
think he can say it now.
but
Yeah,
100%, but it's true. And, and I'm sure you saw the advertisement, or there was something that they will likely announce this week of
yeah.
like the Meta being now available at $299, which will be by far the most affordable, high quality headset
And
in
that's
the
VR,
market.
right? Even if they have pass
Yeah,
through and they call it mixed
yeah,
reality, that's still VR. I think
yeah.
their game is going to be the work they've been doing Ray-Ban with Luxottica, with Ray-Ban, the AR glasses that they, you know, what did Boz say? So Andrew Bosworth, the CTO of Meta and who's been running Reality Labs for a great time. I had dinner with him once at Harvard. He's a fantastic person. He even said that the AR glasses that they have, or the prototype that they have, in his perspective, is one of the most advanced pieces of technology that's ever been created. So that's a pretty lofty thing to say, but I have a feeling they're going to wow us. I have a feeling they're gonna bring hardware heat this week. Like I just know it. Like this is, to me, my perspective, this is the cage match. This is the cage match that Zuckerberg wanted. It's him and Tim Cook in the ring in the octagon, but it's all about hardware. So
Well, let's switch gears and talk about the person who is actually in the market at the moment, which is Evan Spiegel and Snap. They have in the market, although it's a developer edition, right? It's they kind of walked away for now from AR, from the spectacles for consumer, right? Everyone remember how they launched it,
yes,
with
with the vending
that
machines in Santa
with the vending
Monica.
machine in Santa
Which was
Monica
so fun.
Beach,
That
and
was that was like a supreme drop. I loved it.
it was incredible. It was so legendary. The only thing that was missing is a product people want to use, right? But to their credit, they have not walked away from the project. But now the spectacles are really only available as a developer product,
Yeah.
mostly for developers to create experiences and to help Snap really kind of turn that into a really incredible consumer product.
Yeah.
So, when you're talking about your idea that Meta will announce something big in hardware, potentially in AR glasses this week, do you envision them doing it already as a consumer product, or you think they're going to come out first with a developer product?
Here's what I envision. I think they're probably going to talk about updates to their Ray-Ban glasses with more multimodal, a lot more AI, maybe some limited AR, but they are probably going to talk about their other glasses that might be available in a year or two that are going to be more of that see-through AR, true AR glasses that we've all been dreaming of. The Jarvis, like the Jarvis glasses, right? Not maybe not as advanced as Jarvis from Iron Man. But I do think he's going to announce something like that. That being said, I've always been a huge fan of Snap. I'm a shareholder, I'm a shareholder in a lot of these companies regardless, but I've been wanting them to do more hardware announcements, and I was glad to see spectacles. What I loved about his keynote was the being someone that has worked at Magic Leap, HTC, and like all these things. I love the honesty of the demo on stage on the field of view, right? It was they weren't trying to fake it. They weren't trying to show a field of view that wasn't real. There is a limited field of view because that's as much as you can do right now with some of these devices. So, I appreciated that. I'm a Snap developer. Like I've been accepted into their Spectacles program. I'm going to get mine pretty soon to start developing things on it. I think that it was really interesting that their focus was on connection, on virtual shared experiences that happen in the physical world, even though it is virtual content. Because a lot of the times when I've spoken about the metaverse, I've never really said interconnected virtual worlds, or I've talked about virtual shared experiences that happen, yes, in virtual spaces like Roblox, but that eventually will happen in the physical world. That just hasn't been enabled. And I feel like through this hardware, we're starting to enable that. So yeah, I appreciate the work that Snap's doing. Obviously, Snap's a smaller player, but still, I mean, he was first. I think if we were honest, and I've said this before, if we're honest about Snap, the first time I ever did virtual try on for any type of product was on Snap. Right now we do it everywhere, but Snap was really revolutionary when it came to that, and I think that yeah, they've been visionaries when it comes to AR, and it's cool that they're doing see-through AR. The device is still a little bit big, but it's a developer kit. I think they were very honest about that. We'll see where it goes. I,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised eventually if like Snap might get acquired. Who knows? We'll have to see.
Yeah, yeah. I look. I think he's definitely being underestimated. He's not being mentioned in the same breath as Zuckerberg and Meta and Apple, of course. Also, naturally, he's deploying very different levels of capital. I think ultimately the key question is going to become who's going to build the product people want, and who's going to build a product developer wants to create content for. I think if Meta will launch a consumer product, it's going to be interesting to see because it's going to come without launching first a developer product. So it's going to be interesting to see how rapidly creators are actually building content, for those glasses. Some of the previous things that Meta launched with AI and celebrities, for example, did not pan
Did
out
not go
well,
as
and they shut
well.
it
Yeah.
down. And that's true, exactly. Um, Snapchat and Snap are going a whole different direction. They actually intentionally have called this a developer product. It's actually not
You
available
can
for
only
consumers.
get it if you're accepted into the developer program
Exactly,
for Spectacles.
exactly,
So yeah,
exactly. Which is something that even Magic Leap did not really
no,
do,
no, no.
right? So it's a developer product. They're treating it as a developer product. So that's something I appreciate and I think is smart. But at the end of the day, the question is who has the best talent? Who has the best talent that can build a product people want? And are you really able to create a new computing category to the scale and impact that Apple has done with, the iPhone, the iPad, the iPod over time? And can you beat Apple at its game? That's really the question.
Well, Snap doesn't have the capital to do that. Meta, on the other hand, Meta has the
Yeah.
capital to do that, right? So if it comes down to how much money you can invest in R&D, because at the end of the day, a lot of this is R&D, right? Yeah, I mean, who can really compete in that stage? Very few companies in the world. I wouldn't discount Google. I think that they're going to try to find a way to put their Gemini or whatever it's called um, into some type of hardware. I don't think they've given up on some type of device. I wouldn't discount Microsoft. I know the HoloLens is out of fashion. Like people are not talking about the HoloLens, but I wouldn't discount new hardware, new things coming down the line or partnerships, very strong partnerships. So who can compete there? Who has the capital? Very few companies, but keep your eyes out.
So in between Apple's keynote, Snap's announcements, and then we got Meta this week, so we're going to keep an eye on Meta. Um, let's switch gears and talk a bit about much more fun things that we love talking about: Roblox, virtual world, and this whole continued explosive phenomena of a platform that still many people underestimate. Roblox. So Roblox had their annual developer conference, RDC, a
You
couple
were
of
there,
weeks ago.
right? What
I
a
was there
party!
with
First of all, John, like what a party! Like I didn't go, but I was living through your posts. I was living through people's posts. What an amazing party, bringing the RDC community together. My gosh.
it's the world's, I call it the world's most fun cult. It's like
That's a
you're
call I want to
there
be a part
with
of. I love it.
exactly. It's like 2,000 people. Most of them are under 25-year-old creators, innovators, inventors, developers, and it was phenomenal. Like every year, we've now attended 3 years in a row, and we're very excited. It was just amazing to see the energy. And every time I meet someone who is not on the platform, I tell them, if you want to understand why Roblox is so unique, why it's going to continue to be the singular platform that defines what the 3D internet could look like, you have to attend RDC, because this is where one of the world's most creative creator communities are at. And and that's incredible. But let's talk about the business case for a
Yeah.
second, because when Dave Baszucki, the CEO, started a keynote, I very much felt like this is a conversation he was having with, some of it with studios, but a lot of it with Wall Street investors, where he basically said, hey, let's not confuse who we are and where we want to be. And where we want to be is over the next 5 years, we want to acquire 10% of the world's gaming market content business, which is estimated today at about 160 to 180 billion. So effectively what he's saying is that within the next 5 to 7 years, he would like to see Roblox capturing about 16 or 18 billion dollar in revenue, which is, almost 5 times what it is today, which also means that Roblox will pay developers almost 4 and 5 times. And what that meant is that Roblox will need to go from about 80 million daily active users as of today to about 300 million daily active users.
They can do
What
it
do you
though.
think about that?
I think they can accomplish it. I mean, I think Roblox still has a giant path for growth, especially as some of the generations start to kind of grow up and there's newer generations coming in. I mean, I know it sounds ambitious to capture that 10%, but if you look at the numbers, what is it? I think Microsoft estimates that by 2030 there'll be 4 billion. No, I don't remember what the percentage of gamers are going to be like, but 1 in every 3 people in the world is a gamer or labels themselves a gamer. I think Roblox to me is that entryway into the 3D spatial web. It is a place where commerce at levels we've never seen and new forms of commerce are happening, that the virtual to physical commerce that's been enabled inside Shopify, that's been enabled inside Walmart's new build. So yeah, I mean, to me, it is as much as people don't, we pay attention to it, right? Because we are in the thick of it. We're in the thick of it, right? But I do feel that sometimes other people don't realize how massive it is, what a culture maker this is, right? I remember people buying the McDonald's Adopt Me Happy Meals and having no idea what Adopt Me was. I was like, because you're not of us, like you don't understand how massive this is, right? So yeah, I mean, I think the CEO is being ambitious, but I think he's a visionary. He makes it happen. He's made it happen every time from the initial days to today, and I don't doubt for a second that he can make that happen in the next couple years. So,
And here's a data point that Matthew Ball, our friend, mentioned in his latest piece on Roblox. He added a piece of really exciting data. He said Roblox has more monthly active users than the entire AAA ecosystem all combined.
I believe it.
Like people are underestimating because they think of Roblox as this platform for kids
Yeah.
and it's kids building games for kids and stuff like that. But here's the thing. By the end of this decade, all the top 3 to 5 major ad agencies in the world will acquire Roblox studios or agencies, and the world's biggest 2 or 3 gaming companies, EA, Take Two, and well, Blizzard is now part of
Yeah.
Microsoft, but
Yeah.
let's think of it still as a company, will all likely have to acquire a Roblox studio to have a skin in the platform, because neither of them are going to start from scratch. So the fact that people underestimate Roblox, they really underestimate this generation. They underestimate why kids go to Roblox. They underestimate the fact that you now have an army of rebels in the tune of about 1 million developers and creators who are excited to build on this next gen platform, and who also just spent 10 years teaching themselves to become coders and developers on that platform. Another platform that says, oh, we're going to attract Roblox developers because we're going to give you 50% rev share. People are delusional, literally delusional. They don't understand the impact that a 22-year-old can have, knowing that the platform they spend time on since they're 10 is the same place they can now have a job, make a living, make
Yeah.
money, have a career. People who underestimate that are absolutely delusional, which is exactly the reason why, as long as Roblox continues to grow, right, especially to the scale that Dave
Yeah.
Pizzuki has outlined, this is going to be one of the most exciting stories of the century in technology.
I agree with you. And I think the signals are all there. Gaming is the new social network, right? From a reality and what we know seeing our kids, that's true. It's the new creative engine, right? This is where creation is happening. And in a way that they are actually getting money, right? Those developers getting paid. It's a global phenomenon. Like all the data shows that developers are across the globe. They're growing in Brazil, they're growing in Asia, they're growing in the Middle East. Like this is a global phenomenon. And I think people discredit it or they don't understand kind of the impact that this platform has, right? Once again, like I'll give you an example. I think Meta has never really done great in gaming. Like they've tried, right? I think they really tried, and sometimes they've succeeded. I would say they've succeeded in VR gaming, but VR gaming is very niche, right? But like from a gaming perspective, Roblox is, in my perspective, one of the companies to keep your eye on. Now that they're incorporating AI, like the AI announcements that they had, they're incorporating, virtual to physical commerce. Keep your eyes on how this is going to power creative engines, new e-commerce models. I mean, I agree with you. Like, there's no way but up, and the people that think that you and I are delusional, they're delulu because they're not understanding the signals of what's coming. This is an interesting data point. I think I shared this with you last time. By 2030, it's estimated that 10% of the workforce will be Gen Alpha. Where did that Gen Alpha generation socialize? Where did they shop? Where did they find value? Where did they create? More than probably in Roblox at some point in their lives. So
And we're seeing it now in the workforce, right? There is no Slack if there is no millennials who grew up on text messages and Facebook chats, right? No, seriously, there's no
yeah,
Slack. Slack was born in the right era because that's what millennials now demand in the workforce. Like that's exactly what's going to happen. Now, I'm not saying the next enterprise software is going to be a game, but it may well look like a game and feel like
I
a
don't know
game.
about your devs, but when I was running like my 40-person gaming studio at Journey, my devs, yeah, they would communicate with me on Slack, but they were all on Discord.
They're
Like
all on Discord.
that's where they're all
They're all on
talking,
Discord.
not, Slack
They
is
go
not
to
like the
Slack
business
to
thing.
they go to Slack to respond to Yon, but then
Yes.
they go and work together on Discord.
So yeah, so I just knew like if I'm not hearing it from them in Slack, I just hit the Discord, hit the server. They're in there. I know I knew where to find them.
But I want to finish on this note, and I keep going back to that quote because I think it's such a great, it captures so well the underestimation that people have with what kids love. There is this learning scientist, Alison Gopnik, who wrote a book, and in the book, her quote is, "Children are the R&D department of the human species." And I think when you look at kids and what they do and where they are and how they spend their time, they're telling us how their brains are being wired. And and so when we see this enormous amount of time, the fact that Roblox is a place where kids make friends, they socialize, they learn to play, but they also learn to just interact, and they do all of that from the lens of a 3D avatar. There's just no way that that's not going to feed into how they expect to experience the internet in 10, 15, 20 years. So I think that's kind of the key takeaway that we want to make today for our lovely audience. Right, Cathy?
100%. And there's a quote. I did a report with Harvard on Generation Alpha, and I started off by saying, if you want to ask someone about the future, ask a kindergarten teacher because they will tell you what these kids are doing, what is important to them. And I think that that is exactly a similar thing to talk about. But yeah, like I agree with you. I think we're going to see acquisitions of Roblox studios in the next couple years. We're going to see an acceleration in investment in gaming, which had slowed down obviously, but like I'm excited about what's happening, and yeah, gaming will eventually get the respect it deserves as a multi-billion dollar industry that is bigger than music and Hollywood combined. So, and Roblox being bigger than, a lot of these AAAs put together, huge signal for the market. It's not going anywhere.
Agreed. Cathy, so fun to see you. I'll wait to hear from all the latest on Meta's Connect, and I'm sure we'll have more to talk about.
Watch out. I feel like they're going to give us some They're gonna bring some hardware heat. I have full faith that that's what's gonna happen. So we'll see.
I'm excited. Bring it on. Bring it on. We need some groundbreaking stuff. And I also saw that Johnny Ive is now almost officially working on a funded project of a new supposedly post smartphone something something. So who knows?
Once
Let's see.
again, Cambrian explosion.
Yeah,
Everyone's racing to build the hardware where the AI is gonna live. So
I agree, but I would not underestimate this
no,
gorgeous,
no, no. We're gonna
beautiful
keep having
looking.
this. I'm with you. We're not gonna
Right?
replace it anytime soon.
They're not
We're
going
still gonna
anywhere.
use our bricks, but eventually,
They're not going anywhere.
man, a couple of years. I don't know.
I want that brick in my eye, in my contact lenses. That's when
I
it's
want
gonna be
nice Ray
real.
Bans, really stylish Gucci's or whatever. I don't know. All
All
right.
right, all right, Cathy. So good to see you. To be continued.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Into the Metaverse. We hope you learned a lot and explored new aspects of the metaverse.